Have you ever felt at a loss for words? Because I have a lot. Have you ever been in a place, do you feel lit up when you're with your friends? And is that when you feel the most, oh, this whole freaking time I wasn't using my microphone? You ever feel like you just need to hit the refresh button? Reset. Take 2, 3, 5. Hey guys, what's up? So if you've been following me for a little while here, you probably have already learned that I've gone through a lot of changes in the last decade, I guess you could say. And I think that a part of it has all just been basically refreshing my life to be more of what I want and more authentically me. So some of the things I have learned through this process, I want to share with you guys today. So if you've ever felt, if you're like in your later 40s, 50s, 60s, and you feel like your life has been created living for other people and you really want to live out the rest of your years for yourself, then maybe you need a refresh or you need to hit the reset button, start over. So I have done this, I'm working on it still, but I want to share with you what I've learned so far. I guess I'll start back in about maybe like 8 years ago, 9, 10 years ago, I started listening to self-help books and podcasts. And so I was always really interested in improving myself and trying to be a better version of me. There were podcasts that I listened to that were mostly entrepreneurs because I was always interested in running my own business. And so, but a lot of them are into self-help and self-improvement. So I listened to those on the way back and forth to work. I wasn't very happy in my job and I wasn't happy in my marriage, and I knew that this thing called empty nest was coming down the road. And so that's when I decided to seek out an actual therapist and like kind of help me answer these questions like, why am I not happy in any major area of my life? Why am I not fulfilled in my job? Why am I not fulfilled in my marriage? And that was a big one for me that I really wanted to try to figure out. I couldn't figure out like what religion I wanted to be or even if I wanted to be one because I was brought up Christian, but I didn't feel like that fit me. And then obviously knowing that this empty nest thing was coming that you hear about, you hear about from other people. And I already knew that I loved being a mother and that that was my favorite job in the world. And so I knew it was going to affect me. I can't say that I knew how much it was going to affect me, but preemptively, I'm glad that I did go to therapy before that happened so that I was just a healthier version of me going through that because it was tough. Some of the things that I learned in therapy, one was to be more proud of myself or recognize when I am working on things and I have done improvement and I've changed things in my life, and to take the time to recognize that and be proud of myself. I've never been good at doing that. I typically just kind of keep moving forward, like, yeah, okay, great, good job for me. But like really sitting with yourself and being like, yeah, I actually have really come a long way. It's really good for your self-confidence, your self-esteem. I'd say one of the things that I learned in the beginning that was really important was actually feeling what I was feeling. So it sounds goofy, but we would talk about something maybe that made me nervous or upset. And my therapist would say, okay, well, where are you feeling it in your body? And I learned to recognize that some things I feel in my gut, my stomach area, some things I felt in like my chest or my throat. Some things were you could also tell like how big of a deal it was because some things I could feel like throughout my entire body. And I think that's so important because sometimes you're going through, like I was just taking a walk earlier and all of a sudden I felt very nervous in my stomach. And I had to like think like, well, what just brought that on? Now, sometimes it can have something to do with physical. Like I had just eaten lunch and so maybe my blood sugar like went up, and it can, cause energy, which can sometimes for me feel like anxiety. Or was it connected to the thoughts and what was I thinking of at that moment? And so that's something that I learned, is to start connecting my thoughts with my actual physical feelings. And then another thing that we did was actually visit, I know this sounds so like cliche, but we visited my 8-year-old self. And basically my goal, so when I was 8, my parents got a divorce, and that always stayed with me for a very long time. I was very affected by it, and I wanted to go back and like basically heal that inner child, because I thought that maybe that would help me as an adult be a little bit more stable and solid if I could go back and heal those traumas. And so we worked a little bit with that, and I would say that that was super, super helpful. I think I have a lot more work to do with that. I'm definitely not done, but it was a pretty cool thing to experience. I was watching a video the other day that was talking about the age group of 50 to 70. And what they had done is they had asked clients of theirs who were like over 70, if they were in that age period, what would they have done differently? And a lot of them said that they would have done the things that they can no longer do now. So say one of your dreams is to go rock climbing, or like hike a specific mountain, or something that's very physical. Then once you're past your 70s, you may not be able to do that or accomplish that, because your body just isn't going to work with you in that way anymore. And so that's one of the things that they said was really do the things that you want to do with your life in this age group, because now you're also at a time where your kids are probably grown and possibly out of the house, or at least in college. You have more time to yourself, you have more money, and so now's the time. You got the money, the time, and the health to do the things that you really want to do. So that just kind of hit home with me a lot. I mean, I've kind of always known that, and honestly, that's kind of a part of my divorce was just knowing that we wanted different things, and we didn't want to lead our lives in the same direction. We always felt like we were running this like three-legged race, where I was like trying to go this way and he's trying to go this way, and there was never this like center working point. And so that's always been important to me. So I think it's just something that you should consider as well. So if you're in that age group or you're coming up on it, then think about like, what are the things that I really do want my life to look like in this, decade, these 2 decades. These are the questions that I would ask myself. What brings me the most stress? So what is it in your life right now that causes the most stress for you? Then the second question to that is, how can you change that? What can you do to either control it or change it? Or is it a mindset thing that maybe you need to just learn to think about it differently? The third question is, what are your deepest, truest dreams? And I do mean yours. So not dreams that your kids have for your family or that your spouse has, but your dreams. What are things that when you're at your most peaceful self, you dream of doing or having? Write those things down. And the last question is, when do you feel the most lit up or your most authentic self? Is it when you are networking in a room, or is it when you're with your friends and you're just hanging out? Is it when you're gardening or doing photography? So think about when you, or even whether you're doing those things now or even in the past, what lit you up as a child? What did you love doing? What did you love doing as a teenager? What lit you up at that point in time? And so those might help you to kind of figure out right now what you could try doing again to create this light or this energy within yourself. Some of the things that you can do is journal. You can create a dream board. You can do therapy. Take a walk with your friends and just talk. So take the time to actually meet with your friends. Get a massage. I know that sometimes I've had the best ideas come to me when I've gotten massages. So it just gets you in this, like something that gets you in this most relaxed state for you, where you can really think clearly. And then keep notes on your phone of, the things that you're learning while you're going through this phase of, maybe you have a thought that's like, oh yeah, I forgot that I loved that as a child. So write that down and keep a note of it. Lower or raise your expectations. So you might need to raise your expectations of yourself. Maybe you're not doing enough, and maybe you can think about like, okay, well, what can I be doing and how am I going to do it? So that's going to take a little bit of discipline. If you want to start working out and get fit, then that's going to take some discipline. It's going to take maybe a trainer. It's going to take, you searching for videos on YouTube. However, there are times also when maybe you need to lower your expectations. If you tend to have, a type A personality or you're a perfectionist, maybe you want to try not to be so perfectionist with everything. One thing that I've learned from a lot of entrepreneurs in the last 8 years is done is better than perfect. And that always kind of struck me as like, wow, that's kind of weird. Like, don't you want to look perfect? But there really is no such thing as perfection, and things can always be better, and you will get better as you do things more often. But being done is really the most important part, because otherwise, if you never complete this project or you never do this thing, then you just don't accomplish it. What's the point? So done is better than perfect. And maybe do the same thing with other people. So I had to learn to, I don't want to say lower my expectations, but sort of, especially in my marriage, like not expect things to be perfect or look perfect. I had to just learn to be okay with the way things were. Lower or raise your expectations of yourself or others, and even of situations. So maybe you are in a job that you don't love, but maybe you could just try lowering the expectation that you're going to be in love with your job, and think about it in more of like, well, what are the positive things about the job, and what can I be doing to either change this job to make it more of what I like, or find another job that's more along the lines of what I enjoy doing. Another thing is that I would definitely recommend is reaching out and getting help from other people. And this just doesn't mean just therapy, but also a life coach could help if you're not sure really what your next phase of life is going to look like and you want to figure that out. Maybe you don't need therapy. Maybe it's not like trauma that you need to work through, or mental illness, but maybe it's just that you need more of a coach. And so a life coach is a great thing. Another thing is a financial advisor. So if you are feeling like your finances aren't in order, that can be a huge stressor and really make a lot of us feel very down on ourselves. And so I definitely recommend reaching out. I've reached out to several financial advisors in the last few years, and I have never felt like I thought I would feel. Like, I thought that I would feel really embarrassed and that I would feel like they were better than me, but no one has ever made me feel like that. I can say that. So don't be afraid to reach out to them and say, hey, this is where I'm at. This is where I want to be. Can you help me? Another thing I would recommend is either joining clubs or groups of things that you enjoy or used to enjoy. So if you used to love photography, get back into that. Start following some photography groups on Facebook, or just join some social groups on Facebook for your area and get out and meet people. That will really help inspire you and let you up to continue this improvement of your life and getting it in the direction that you want it to be going in. Another thing is maybe talk to a pastor or a priest if you're religious. That could always be helpful. And then the final thing is, don't be afraid to invest in yourself. So whether that's courses, or you want to take a retreat, or it's, audio books that can help, definitely spend some money in those areas if it's about improving your life and getting it in the direction that you want, because now is the time. So I hope that you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments what you think, if there's anything that you are dreaming about doing, or you have some questions moving forward. Definitely let me know. I have friends that are life coaches. I have friends that are financial advisors, so I can definitely hook you up. And until next time, guys, see ya.